Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are working on the Hello Beautiful cat. Going to do a little bit more work in progress and a chat. Going to talk about, some tips I've learned from diamond painting. Things that, just certain things as we go along. You would have seen this on my unboxing. I'm up to basically this amount. I've done the bottom. So today we're going to work on this little section. This is a Diamond Art Club, so it is perforated, which is great. So we don't need to worry about putting washi tape on to section off. So as you can see, I just used my scissors to peel a bit up and then get the end there. Sometimes they are a little bit fiddly. Now it's gone back down again. They're not difficult, it's just I don't have nails, so it's just so, and sometimes the perforations go great, sometimes they don't. Let's go this side. There we go. And we'll fold back. So we're going to work on this little section. Now I've got, you can use, the very basic pens. I've got a number of pens. I'm just going to show you the ones that I've got here so you can kind of see where we go. I've got 3 I tend to use. Okay, this one I did buy off Amazon. I thought it was a good idea at the time until I came to put the refills in. Basically, you'll just twist this end and a little bit more of the wax will come out. Once it's gone, just put your finger on, smudge it off, do it a bit more. This is a Benotti brand. But the thing I found with it, which I've used it, when I've refilled it once and it was fine, but coming to refill it again, the wax is in. It doesn't want to come out. So it was about £10, but I don't think that was a very good buy, to be honest with you. Then got my Diamond Art Club pens, which are the Twist and Pick. So they've got their waxing, which is really good. Twist it, it will come out. Same, as that one. I don't tend to I use them on smaller canvases or if I'm travelling, these are good, but they're not my favourite. I've also got a Diamond Dots pen that I got free with a kit, which is just the usual, stick it in the wax, off we go. This one is the next upgrade, I would say, from, the free little ones we get, because you've got your grip in it. This is an ergonomic one. So this actually is, if you just want, the standard tips you've got, this isn't actually that bad. It is quite comfortable to use when you're using it for periods of time, and it's got a little diamond in the end. So we've got that one. Then I've got these two I got in, I got these in Hobby Lobby a couple of years ago, not with these tips. They just come with these ends, the standard, the standard brass tips, which are fine. And the other end you can put what you want in. So I've got 2 multi-places in mine. They may look quite similar on here, but they are just, one is that little bit bigger. So I've got those 2. I've also got then 2 Diamond Art Club pens I bought. This end snapped off, but it's fine. I'll just keep it. And I've got a 4 multi-placer. I think it's a 4 or 5. I think it's a 4, but you can get 5 on it. And then this one as well. I mean, these 2 came in a set. Again, I got them in Hobby Lobby when I was over with their own plastic tip on. And then the best thing that you could ever buy is this steel tip single placer. Okay, the steel tips, they are the best. They do wobble a bit. And you can, I don't know if it shows here. I'm trying to my hand. It does wobble. So I've got washi tape in there to secure it quite a bit. When I haven't put it in this one yet, and you'll see that it can come out really easy. So you just give it a good old push. Now, these are just, again, say some little tips and tricks. You don't need to go for these steel placers, but I tell you what, they're so much better. Especially if you're quite a heavy placer. I'm not, so, these are fine. But it's hard to describe until you use it. But these, I just feel they're picking up and they're placing a lot better. But what is better for them is when you want to push them in and you need it, when we get the pop sound, if we're doing something, we just need to get it in that little gap. These steel placers will push it in so much easier. You're not wiggling and like trying to get it in from these brass tips. This will work so much better. So they're not cheap. These come to Obviously, I'm paying in pounds, not dollars. For Americans, your prices on Diamond Art will be slightly different because we're paying for shipping over here, and we prepay it for that. Plus also any customs allowance. They put it in the cost straight away. So these tend to be around the £15 mark, which some people might think, wow, that's a lot of money. It is, but it's such a game changer. It really is. So I've been doing this now for about 4 years. So yeah, I still use these ones, but the free pens, no. If you're going to start doing it they're good to start with, to try, if you like the hobby. Once you start getting into it and you think, yeah, this is something I'm going to do, invest in these still places, because they really are a game changer. And I find, say like here, I want to push some in a little bit. Yeah, with this one, I push and they don't push in. Get the still placer, it pushes it right in. So they are definitely a good investment. So say we're going to work on whether we'll get this whole square done. Not sure, but we're going to give that a go today. So I've got my kitted up. Now I'm also going to show you another little thing, if I can get it in the camera, for when I've kitted up. You've probably seen from other videos, I've got a number of different storage trays. Those are all full up with other kits that I'm on the go. I don't always do 1 or 2. I've got about 4 on the go now, which people probably think, are you mad? Yeah, maybe. But I like to chop and change. When this came in, I really wanted to do it. And I was like, yeah, because I do want to give this to my mum. And I was like, nope, I want to do it. Plus, as well, I've not been at work for a couple of weeks. I had procedure done in hospital, and then I had a cyst rupture in my knee, which was pretty damn painful. So I've been either laying on bed or laying on the settee, and I've been bored out my brains, and I've been like, I just need to diamond paint. So it's been difficult, but I managed to get a little tray table, balance it on one leg, and I've done, not all of this, but I've done bits of it. So it wasn't easy, which is why some of the lines might not be straight. And you know what? That is one of my big tips on here. Don't fuss about, are your lines straight, okay? You can see mine. Usually I'm straighter, but because I've been doing this on my lap, they're a bit all over the show. I don't care. I find personally too many people focus, is this straight? When this is on a wall, you're not going to be going, is that line dead straight? No. For me, I'm doing this for the enjoyment of it, So, yes, you want it to look nice at the end, but it's not all about, everything has got to be dead red right. So, let's start a little bit off as we go along. Now, you will notice if you see the containers I'm using as we go along, they're not all those. Some of those are, let me get one out and show you. I've still got some of these little Tic Tac ones. I don't like them, but I got some and I kept them. Now, as I said, because I've kitted up a lot, I don't have any containers left. So what I've done, I've got the box that this came in, and I've just popped them, all spare ones I had, I've popped them in. So I've got some of the round ones here, and I've also got some of the Tic Tacs. It works, So you don't have to have, the big fancy containers. They're nice. So I've got quite a few. They do make it a lot easier. Okay, but you don't have to have them. You can make anything work. Same with the trays. The tray that you get with the basic kits, personally, I don't like. If it's your very first kit, give it a go. But you'll soon see, oh no, don't want those, want to get rid of them. Because the sides, like this one, this is probably, I don't know, about 1/2 inch high. Your sides need to be high, because if not, you give them a shake, they go everywhere. Which it does sometimes happen on this one, I've got, let me see if I've got any to hand. Yeah, here we go. I've got one of my small new Diamond Art Club ones. So you can see the sides, they're a little bit higher, not too much, So it's kind of like, it's a good size. But yeah, the ones that you get with, the lower cost kits, You know, we all know what, I'm sure everyone knows what I mean. They're like little green boats. Yeah, they're not that great. I say they're all right for when you first start out, but what you need as well is a little spout on them, because when you want to tip your drills back into your container, on those small ones, you don't have one. But so you can get all different price ones. There's Forever Young, I've got some really nice ones, but they're like £20 for two. Now me, I can't justify £20 just for two trays, you know. Yeah, they'd be nice, but again, it's a lot of money. Just, you know, put this side, a lot of money for a tray. When I think £20, that could go on another. I could buy a part that could be partly towards a large kit. That could be definitely going towards a smaller kit, depending which brand. Or you could definitely buy a kit with that. If you go into somewhere like the Range, you'll get two kits for £20. Definitely, if you want the big ones, you know, you will get them. So, say I don't just do Diamond Art Club. This happened to be a Diamond Art. I mix, you know. Yes, Diamond Art Club is my favourite, I'm not going to lie, because you get what you pay for. So the quality, it is superior to anyone else. Let's be real, it really is. There's other brands that are good, but they're not going to come, they're just not going to be, you know, in this level, because, you know, a lot of things, what is important is the gapping, and you're not going to get gapping on these Diamond Art Clubs. Not on a square. On a circle, of course, you're going to get some gapping because of the shape of the drill. But you're not going to get it, you know, on one of the squares. Not at all. So, yeah, that's, you know, two tricks. Just get what you can afford, you know. There's going to be so many different things on the market that are good. I mean, I've got some on the channel, things that, you know, are good. These are the drills that you'll see me placing at the moment. These are fairy dust drills. Now, I've just got my ordinary wax in this pen right now. And as you can see, the fairy dust drills, they're picking up absolutely fine. So if you're just using normal drills, fairy dust drills, you don't need any different pens. You only, I would say, need a different pen is when you're going to go and start the AB drills. I've tried different ways. I see people, you know, dip it in water, do this, do that. I don't like putties. I've tried them. They're not for me. They're really not. The people say they last longer when they're in your pens. Getting them out is a mess. I don't know. I just didn't like them. I just find that they're very sticky. So, yeah, they're not for me at all. I'm going to add an extra pink on that one. So, and as you see, I just put a different colour pink on a different pink square. So, you know, you don't have to keep it exactly as well to the chart. You know, if you want to change colours on anything, just go ahead and change it, you know. So it's not, you can make them a little bit more unique by doing your own. So, but for the AB drills, on the channel here, I've done a review for the Pic Mondu Vacuum E-Painter pen. Now, that is a game changer. If I was going to buy, as I say, if I was to recommend, say, what tools would I recommend someone to buy? Okay, a light pad is good if you're not always going to be sitting, you know, somewhere where the light is quite good. Hopefully this isn't coming out too dark today. We will have a look after. I've got a light on at the moment in the background, and it's by Sally Beauty. A friend of mine recommended me this, and it's great. It's charging at the moment, which is why I'm not putting it in. At the end of this video, I will duck it under the camera and show you. And it's one that people use for nail art, and I really like it. It's got different settings on it, you know, so it doesn't have to be too high. And because it is, well, you'll see the shape later, it's so portable. It's, you know, you don't have to go, it's not, you know, one that's got to be used on the table. You can use it many places. As long as you can balance it, it's going to work. So yeah, lighting, I would say, is lighting's your best friend. You know, you do need good light, because then, one, you see what you're doing, obviously, but yeah, it just makes life so much easier. So don't need any more of that colour. So yeah, you need obviously a good light. Yes, you need, in my opinion, a decent tray, but people are probably looking and go, well, that's not a decent one. This is just one. This is a very old Diamond Art Club one from years ago. But you can get ones like this with many companies, but that is how simple it is. Obviously, my washi tape to catch the end drills in. You know, you don't need all the fancy. As I say, it's nice, but, you know, people are on budgets. You don't have to have all these tools. But that Picmondo e-painter, that is the thing that I would recommend the most. If you're going to do a kit which is going to have the AB drills in, you know, you make your first couple of kits, maybe they won't have them in, but trust me, you're going to get kits that have got ABs in, and you will be so frustrated when they're not picking up, because it did my head in. So that was it was about £30 on Amazon, which again, people might think, well, it seems a lot of money. Trust me, that's not a lot of money for the time it's going to save you. And if you're using it on one of these wax pens, oh, the amount of times I would put one down, the drill would go, take the pen away. Oh, look, there's my little lump of wax on it. And I was just like, I can't be doing this. You know, AB drills are so pretty on your kits, and for me, they really make it. So you need a good tool so that you can just work it, you know, and not have to be like, oh my God, it's going to take me an hour just to get, you know, a few drills down, keep, you know, refilling the wax. Yeah, it's not about that. So here we go. My 4 haven't gone straight in. Get the old steel placer, push them back. So yeah, it does work. Not everything has got to go down perfect first time, you know. It's a learning curve. So even people, you know, I'm sure people that have been doing it for years, I've been doing this for years, to me, it's not about perfection all the time. It's about the enjoyment that you're going to get when we're doing the kits. So yeah, they're main things. But I'd say it's just enjoy it as you're doing it, and don't be too focused on, you know, if you're doing a square, oh, is my line dead straight, you know. It's not about perfection. It's just about, once you've done it, you've got a nice result at the end of it. So let's talk different brands, different types of kit we're going to get. As I say, we're showing today the Diamond Art Club because this is the one I wanted to get done first so that I can give it to Mum. So I've worked on many other brands. Even though I'm from the UK, I do tend to go to Florida most years. So Hobby Lobby is my favourite shop. I will be in there for absolutely hours. I love it in there. Now, a few years ago, they used to sell all these Diamond Art Clubs. Not all of them, like they had a range of them. And they were a lot cheaper. And for people that don't know Hobby Lobby, say any British person probably is going to be like, well, not anyone. A lot of people won't have been in there. They've always got sales on. So, you know, there'll always be like 40% off, 30% off. So you go in there, you know, and you're like a kid in a sweet shop, because you're like, oh, look at all this money I'm getting off. So you start buying more and more. It's great. What I tend to do then is chuck all the boxes away so that I can get more in the suitcase. But when I went last year, I was like, where's all my Diamond Art Club? Didn't have any. And I was like, ooh, not liking that. So there was a few diamond dots. There's another brand in there, Studio Art. Never heard of them, but I bought some. But I've not tried them yet. They're more, from what I can see, they're definitely more of a basic to intermediate level. But I don't look at things for the level. I look at it for the pictures, which I'm sure most people do, and just think, do I like it? Do I not, you know? So yeah, I've got a few of those. Hobby Lobby do their own brands, not so many, or whether they still do now, but they used to. So got some of those. went into Michael's, another craft shop. Love Michael's as well. They've now got their own brand, the Make By Market. They do different things, not just the kits. Quite a few little tools in there, and they have some not bad ones. So I've got a few here as well from Michael's. Not done too many. Yeah, they're all right. Again, you know, you see a lot of people, oh, they're not the same quality as Diamond Art Club. No, they're not. But they're not the price of them either. So, you know, you got to go by that as well. You know, not everyone can afford £70 for a kit. You know, because obviously this one wasn't the size of this one. But the bigger ones, yeah, on average, are around about that kind of price. Now, what I will say to defend the price that people pay on that, because I'm not going to lie, I pay it. I've got quite a few of them as well. Not all done yet, but I've got quite a few. Is you do get what you pay for. Now, yes, people are like, wow, how much? Size of them? Okay, here we go. We've got some ABs. I'm going to try a couple. Oh, come on. There's a lot in here. Right. I am just going to, bear with me. I'm going to whiz round the other side of my room and grab my Pic Mondu. Hang on. I will keep talking. Should have been prepared, but I wasn't. So, yeah, we need to get this one out now for these. Here we go. So, here's the old Pic Mondu. Get this on. So we'll go on setting 1. It's not so loud. This is my vacuum pen, so hopefully, yeah, I can talk over this. Now, I haven't charged this since I've had it, so it may go up to, I may put it on 2 because I think the battery might be running down a little bit. As the battery gets lower, obviously, we're going to go on higher speed. So, yeah, I've lost my thread now, what I was saying. Oh, yeah, the Diamond Art Club kits. So, yeah, they're a lot of money, the big ones. But you know what? When you look at some other brands, or even a lot of times the cheap ones, yeah, which, again, there's nothing wrong with them. But if you look at the size of them and you put down... I did this. I did it for myself. I got one of my big Diamond Art Clubs, put it on the floor. And I was like, right, I know how much that costs. And then went and got one of my smaller ones. And I laid it on top and I was like, right, how many of these smaller ones would I need to buy, you know, to make up the size of this Diamond Art Club? And when I did that, there wasn't too much difference in what I would have spent to what I'd spent on that big one. So they're not as dear as people, you know, think, wow, that's a lot of money. You know, they are nowhere near the price you think. Yes, you're paying a lot in the first place. It's going to take you a lot longer to do because of the size of it. The picture's going to look amazing when it's done. It is a case of the bigger the better, you know, when you're looking at the quality of the pictures, okay? Because of the pixelation on them. So, obviously, the bigger the area you're working on, the more detail we can get in it. When I did start out, I started out on Temu. Never again, okay? But it's good to start with because it's cheap. So you get to see, do I like it or not? I then got a couple of smaller ones in the range. They do some in there for like $2.99. Once I'd done the picture, I was like, what is that actually meant to be? Couldn't even work out what it was. The picture on the box and what I made looked like two completely different things. They really did. So, yeah, you get what you pay for, as I keep saying, I know. But it's the size. The size will matter because it will affect the pixelation on it, definitely. So, yeah, don't be put off by doing a big one. I would give it a go, you know. Okay, let me just give this a little... It's twisting a little bit. Hold my wire here. It's just on my lap. So, yeah, you can see, obviously, I'm using all the tools. I'm sure this is not coming out too loud, the machine, because it isn't that loud. And it is on full blast. But you can see just how easy it is. Obviously, I'm not going, you know, dum, 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 to go too fast. But as oops, someone's gone upside down. Get the old nail, flick it out. But yeah, this, you can see, it's just, using this tool is just like using, you know, your wax or your putty pens on a normal drill. And it is so much easier. You don't have to use this just, you know, for special drills. You can use it on all your diamond, you know, on all your diamond drills. And a lot of people do. But me, I keep it just for this one. One, I've got to keep charging it, which is, I haven't had to charge it since I bought it yet, but I will have to charge it. This wire, it can be not annoying, but if I was doing a whole picture, yeah, I probably would, you know, I'd be like, but I like to multi-place. So I don't single placing AB drills is fine. But as you've seen, even my 4-placer, if I've got areas I can use it, I'm going to do that. I don't want to single place the whole picture. If you did, then yeah, this will work for that as well. Work for the whole thing. And then you've got none of, you know, the waxes and all that. But you've got the basic tip on it. I'm not the biggest fan of these for AB drills and things. This is fine because I'm not using it too much. You know, I can do it. If this was the whole picture with one of these pens, no thank you. It would actually start hurting your hands a bit. Now, I've seen on Etsy you can buy different pens that will slot onto these. So if you are going to use it, you know, the whole time, yeah, you could go and buy one of them. But for me, I'm good with it just for my special drills. So yeah, a little tip. But say I've got another, I did do a special video just on this, okay, because it then just shows you the attachments, you know, things like that, what you get in the box, because you don't just get this one long cable. You do get a few bits. So say if you're interested, pop over to that video review of the Picmondo e-painter pen and you can see. If you're looking things like storage boxes, you know, wonder what one's for the containers. I've done a video of a really big one that I bought. Well, it was gifted to me by a friend. And it's a 240 one, so yeah, it's a big old boy. Now the other thing to talk about is this one is always do we, don't we? And I see a lot of questions on this. Once your kit's finished and your kit down, do you keep your drills? Me, no. I used to keep them, and then I got to the point of thinking, well, why am I keeping them? Because what am I doing with them? You know, they're just sitting in a drawer, taking up space, and I'm not doing anything else with it. So it was kind of like, why am I keeping them? I will keep certain ones, you know. So say like, for instance, this kit, once it's finished, these AB drills, I will keep them. You know, they'll just go in a little baggie in a drawer, and I will just make a note of the kit that they come from. Because if you use this on another kit, yeah, obviously you could do it, but you're going to get slightly different shades. So again, you're going to notice it. So I don't really see the point. Most of the time when you get a kit, you're getting enough drills for that kit anyway. You get warranties. So if you're not, again, you can send off and be like, hey, I've run out. Can you send me some more? But again, then you face the same old thing, that the dye colour may be slightly different. But I think if you can send off and get them, why keep them all? Unless you do a lot of projects where, you know, you're just putting the glue down and, you know, using your leftover drills. I mean, I did keep them, don't get me wrong. I kept some for about 1.5 years. And I was like, they're just sitting over there in them drawers, and I'm not doing anything with them. So yeah, I decided at the end, just chuck them, you know. So yeah, a lot of people do keep them. There's various ways they keep them. A lot of people do keep them in the storage containers, the tube ones, like, as I say, the 240 container, which, so you can see the one on my YouTube. It is one of the cheaper brands. It is a Chinese brand on Amazon, and it does the job really well. You don't always need the top brand products, certain ones, yeah, you do, but certain ones, no, you don't. As I say, I've bought I did buy a pen off Amazon, and it had the steel rods at the end, the steel places rather, and it had a number of the steel places, and it was about 10 quid. I've not used it much because this bit of the pen is so thick, and I was like, I found it really hard to work with because it was just so thick and chunky, and it was heavy as well. So you can get cheaper ones, and it's like, as I said before, it just depends on your budget, but you will learn over time, what you want to spend a bit more money on and what you don't. So yeah, for me, the places, yeah, that was worth every bit of money. Now, I don't have any dry sheets in my tubs, so there are staticky bits. I did buy one set of dry sheets. Got some from B&M. Oh, they smelled really strong, so I just gave up with it. Now I know when we're kitting up, we got all the static, and people are like, oh blimey, how'd you get the static out? Do we need the dry sheets? What I tend to do is just keep the bag, obviously, so we've got, just cut the corner off when I kit up, and I just blow a hot air in there, seed it a bit, give it a little shake. Yeah, the static just disappears from most of them. So I just tend to do that, But as I say, there's loads of ways that do work, but not everything has to involve more money. So, yeah, there's my main, tips and tricks. Not too many. It's just a case of enjoying what you do. Most people are doing this, just for the fun of it, for the enjoyment. I find it so relaxing, and you can zone out of any worries you got. For me, when I could finally do a bit of this week, it was great. It was difficult trying to balance on one knee, hence some of this being a bit wonky, but I don't care. But it meant I could just sit there, do a little bit of my favourite hobby, and forget about the pain I was in. So, it works if you're stressed about things, Oops, some of them are spilt out, here we go. So, yeah, if you're stressed, it's a good de-stressor because you're just focusing on your little picture. So, yeah, it's very, very good for that. And before you know it, hours will have just passed, just from doing this. So, yeah, so what else can I tell you? What's been happening this week for me? Not a lot, literally, because I've been off work. I've been sitting here thinking, oh, please hurry up, let me get back to work. I was waiting on an appointment with my consultant. So it's been a rough month. I don't mind admitting. I went in for a small minor op, okay, and I was told, yeah, you should recover in about, should be a week, which was fine. I was kind of like, yep, I couldn't bend down, do lots, but I was like, you just give it time, and all's going to be good. Then on the Monday, I was like, okay, I was hoping to go back to work, and I was like, you know what, just take the one more day, because they did say, really, you need a week. I'd hoped 4 days and the weekend, but no, so I took the Monday. Then about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was like, oh, blimey, my calf's gone solid. And I stood up and was like, oh, couldn't stand up so well. So I called my sister-in-law, and I was like, can you get me to hospital? And she was like, oh, blimey, what's happened? And I told her. She's like, oh. I went, yeah. So I've just read my notes and it says you can get DVT up to 10 days. She was like, okay, are you ready? I was like, yep, I'm good to go. So she was a real lifesaver for me, and she has been recently. Now, my brother, he's got MS. So he does use mobility scooters and wheelchairs. So he said, shouted out, do you want one of my wheelchairs? And I was like, yeah, because we had to go straight to A&E. And I'm sure, as most people know, A&E could be there for hours, and you've got to park, and who knows where you're going to end up parking. So luckily we had that, because we was quite a long way away. So yeah, we ended up there for a few hours, onto the relevant wards and everything that we needed to be on. And yeah, they did a few tests. Nope, no DVT. Well, we don't think so. Spend the next day just laying there doing nothing, legs up. Come back Wednesday and we'll do the scan to be doubly sure if you've got it or not. Like, okay, so told my boss, was like, right, I'm not coming back to work. Probably not going to be this week, I reckon. I said, but let's see how we go. I'm going day by day. I said, but I know I'm off till Wednesday, so we'll go from there. So Wednesday comes, and I'm at the hospital to get the scan done. No DVT. So I say to them, so why's my leg still hurting? And it was hurting quite a lot. And it's like my calf just felt a solid lump. My thigh was hurting. And I was like, so what has happened? And they were like, I'm not sure. You probably need to see an orthopaed. So, okay, so we'll go to an orthopaed. Get one down there. No, sorry, doctor's got to refer you. I was like, are you kidding me? That's going to take months on the NHS. Be at least 6 months. And in the meantime, I don't know what I've done. So Mr. MasterCard came out and I booked to go private, which some people might think, why would you do that? Because I needed an answer and I needed to know, what have I done? And more importantly, why does my calf feel rock solid? So I stayed off that week, saw the orthopaed. He was great, and he was like, okay, you've had a cyst rupture in your knee. I was like, oof, okay. He's like, this is why it hurts. And I was like, yeah, understatement. So he gave me a steroid injection. It's 50-50 if it's going to work. Didn't work, but I have had one done before, and it did work. So I was like, I was optimistic. I was like, let's see. The pain was definitely worse for a couple of days, way worse. But I was just on the lines of things get worse before they get better. So let's see. But they didn't get better. So then I needed an MRI. So I went somewhere locally that was like a third of the price of the hospital. So did that. Again, another week off work because I was told I went on a Saturday and I actually had the results on the Monday. Now, in case you've not seen any of my other videos, the About Me video, I work Pacific hours in America because I work for an American travel company. So I work in UK hours. I work 2 to 11 at night. Now, I'd said to my boss, yeah, I'll be back. Can't wait. She's like, yeah, you're coming back. Then I got the results and I was like, okay, maybe not. I called up the consultant secretary, read it out, and she was like, oof, no, you need to keep your leg up. Spoke to him, yep, need to do this, that, and the other till you see him. So that was another week off work. And then by then I was like, I've really had enough now because I thought I only needed a week off from my procedure, and then all these things happened. And I'm not one to be like, oh, yeah, I've got a month off work. Great. No, I like to be working. One, I like the people I work with. Everybody in my company is so lovely and we all get on really well. Now, usually, there's always one, isn't there, that you just like, causes trouble or anything. We don't have none of that, and we're all remote workers. There's a few, I think there's about 5 of us from the UK now. We've got people from the Philippines, lots of Americans. And most of us have never met, although I've met a couple of the Americans when I went on holiday last year. One of them, my team leader, she's like an American version of me. She's like, I think of her as one of my best friends. So yeah, I've really missed, not being there. But it's more the old brain. You're like, oh, I need to be doing something. That's what, I've found the hardest is just sitting about. And I know I've had to do it, but yeah, I'm not one for doing that. So yeah, went to see him Saturday, as in yesterday, and I was like, right, let's have a look. Because when the report came back, it said there was another cyst. Well, it said there's a cyst, and there's a tear. I was like, oh no, I don't want a tear. That means surgery, which I don't have the money for. So he see everything, and he was like, okay. I went, what about that cyst? And he's like, it's the same one you had 2 years ago. I was like, really? Wicked. So does it? I said, if it's been there, he was like, that's fine. It's not troubled you for 2 years. It's not that that's causing you problems. So yeah, long story short, I've still got a way to go on things with the medical side of things. Won't bore you completely on that, but yeah, I can get back to work tomorrow, so I am really looking forward to it. So whilst I'm doing this is my first time since I've been off. I'm actually sitting at my table doing this because I've got a little stool underneath with one leg up, and bits and bobs, and I'm just seeing how long I sit here doing this video. All right, my brain is focused on this. Yeah, it's hurting a bit. In fact, it's hurting quite a bit. But I'm just trying to ignore it and get on, because obviously tomorrow I've got to be sitting at my desk for 9 hours. But it is what it is, isn't it? So yeah, that's basically what's happened to me this week, which it's not very much. But I've been putting some videos on the channel. I'm really hoping to, get this to take off. I see quite a few people on the craft channels, one's only been on here a month and she's got like 2,000 subscribers. And I'm like, wow, I got 10, It's how you reach out to the community. But we all know there's, a lot of diamond painters out there of all different levels. And when I started, I was like, oh, picked a kit up, and I was like, what do I do with this? So yeah, I was on YouTube watching people, and I do see people, they do the work in progress. We have a little chat, people can put things in the comments, Then I'm going to try and do one of these every Sunday. Sunday's my relaxed day that I don't, when I'm working, that is. Every day for the last month has been a relaxed day. But when I'm working, it's, it's my chill out day that I can sit, and I will spend quite a bit of time on my diamond painting. So that is the plan on Sundays, to do a little one of these. Any comments from the week before, we'll answer them, see how we go. So yeah, if there is anything, any questions you've got, it doesn't even have to be about diamond painting, If anyone's got any travel questions, pop them down. Any other recommendations, If you think, why don't you try this? I'll give it a go. So yeah, that's where we're at. Not too much is happening. Yeah, I'm sure lots of people have got the old busy lives. Me, yeah, not much this week, not at all. But if you're in the UK, I will say, aren't you just sick of this rain? I just want it to stop. And apparently this week, it's going to start again. And it's just like, really, when is it going to end? It's like, do I need to buy a canoe so that I can go out? If I want to go up shops, row the old canoe up there, because it's going to be that much. Luckily, where I am in Essex, yeah, we've had quite a bit of rain, but we haven't had the old flooding. What I've seen, quite a few areas have had. So yeah, I'm moaning about it, but I guess when you see what other people have had, shouldn't moan that much, should I? But yeah, no one wants the old rain, the cold. It's just like, bring on summer, I guess being British, when it's cold we moan, when it's too hot we moan. But me, I would much rather it be too hot than too cold. So yeah, I get that. Oh, you can put your layers on, you can, but I've also got to put the heating on even more. Don't want to do that. I just like it when it's hotter and I've got less clothes on. I'm happier in my shorts and t-shirt, most definitely. And I think like a lot of people, the sun's out, the sun's shining, and you just feel a bit happier in yourself, don't you? Because you're looking out the window and it just looks nice. Not you're looking out the window and it just looks grim when you look out and you think, oh, is it going to rain again? So yeah, looking at the weather forecast, looks like we're in for a ton of rain, which will be interesting to see what happens this week. I've got a tradie coming on Friday. My patio doors have got to be replaced. I rent where I am, so don't think I'm rich getting patio doors done, not in the slightest. Part of it, the wood's all rotted away. So yeah, it happened. I noticed at the beginning of December, one of the window panes dropped. I was like, the glass, I was sitting there, I was like, crushed, it's cold. I even had the heating on, and the heating was on like 25, and I'm like, why is it so cold in here? I was like, what on earth? And then I noticed it when I put my Christmas tree up, of all things. And I put mine up early this year. I did it, about first week in December. I was like, oh, go and get your tree up. And when I got there, I was like, God, it's cold here. And I put it, normally I put it by the telly. I started off with it by the patio doors. And I was like, bloody hell, it's freezing down here. Looked up and I was like, there's a gap at the top of one of these window panes. Stuck my hand up and I was like, wow. Like the wind was just flying in. So no wonder I'd been cold, because there was a gap about an inch long. So I had the heating on and it weren't doing nothing. All it was doing was going straight out because all the gusts was coming in. So yeah, a different tradie came, patched it up for the time being, which was great because it really did the job for me. And then yeah, I've got the new ones coming in on Friday, so that'll be interesting to see what it's like. I'm hoping it is not chucking it down a rain, because yeah, you can just imagine how nice that's going to be. All the rain coming in and God knows what. So yeah, that's my week ahead. I'll be taking it easy. Obviously my first week back at work. Got to get used to working my hours again. As I say, I work till 11ish at night, which a lot of people think, oh, that must be horrible. You know what, it's okay. At first, I wasn't sure what it was going to be like. You should get used to it. I've been there a year, and what I'm saying on here, if anyone from my work actually watches this video, it's nothing I haven't said before. When I took my job on, I'd been made redundant from my last job. They'd got rid of half the company. I was like, you know what, this is probably going to be a stopgap, because I can't see me working these hours too long. It's going to be too much. A year later, I don't see me ever leaving. I really don't. I like my hours now. It means, yeah, I get up late. I don't normally get up till about 10 o'clock, except on a Friday when we have to get the old rubbish out. But yeah, I get up about 10. I've got 4 odd hours till I start work, get the washing done, get some of the housework done. My mum lives just a couple of roads away, so I always ring her in the morning. Right, what do we need? Anything need doing today? Yes, I'm a good daughter. I'm always ringing her. Every day I ring and say, right, how are we? Do you want anything? Do I need to take you out? So then if we need to pop out, yep, we get a time that works for us both, get that done, and then I start work. So it works out fine. But what I've noticed, I used to do day shifts all the time, okay? But what I've noticed with this now is I get a lot done in the mornings. The downside is, like everything, pros and cons, okay? The con side of it is I don't get my diamond painting done night of a night, okay, which I used to do. I used to sit and chill out. Ooh, another bit over here. I used to sit out and chill out and do my diamond painting. So I don't get as many done as I used to, because I don't do it for morning. I catch up on other bits. And when I finish work, I don't do it, because I finish, meant to be 11 o'clock, not always 11 though, but I'm finished by 11:30. But my brain then needs to shut down from work before I can sleep. So I don't really tend to do this. I just put the TV on, and I know they say, oh, we shouldn't be watching something. I can't just sit here. But it does work for me, the TV, and that will, so I can shut down from it. So I'm just trying to find another number. Where is good old number 8? Here he is. So, yeah, so now that's why I tend to do a lot more of my diamond painting on a Sunday and spend hours doing it. But yeah, the plus side of my hours, so you can get out if you need to get a few bits done. You can go and get it all done before you start work. When it's summer or, Maytime hits and we can hang the washing out, It's great. Get up, get the washing on, hang it out. It's dried before I've even started work. So I can get mine done in the week. Before, when I worked day hours, I couldn't, because it was like, I can get it done in my lunch hour, but, getting it dry on the line, getting it in, finishing at the tumble, just doesn't work when I'm still sitting there working at 6 o'clock. But what it means is, when my weekends, I find are a lot freer, if that's the right word. When I work day shifts, my weekends, my Saturday would be housework day, because when I finished work at 6 o'clock, then did dinner, the last thing I wanted to do was start doing housework. Not at all. So I'd have all the washing to do from the week. Yep, and all the bed sheets. My Saturday was pretty much, say, go to Morrison's, get all the chores done in the house. Now, though, don't have none of that. So, it's all done in the week. I'll pop out on Saturday still for a bit, but I don't have to get all these extra things done. It's a lot more me time, so if I want to go out, I go out. If I don't, I don't, So it does work. But I'm looking forward to getting back tomorrow. I'm sure they're looking forward to me getting back, doing a bit of work. I was off at the worst possible time. Again, they know, obviously, it's not my fault. Can't help what happened in surgery, but if there's Americans watching this, you will know. British people, maybe not so much. The winter storm that's hit America this year has been absolutely terrible. It's gone across so many states, it's untrue. The deep snow, the power outages. But consequently, because it's gone through so many, it has meant thousands upon thousands of cancelled flights. So I should have been there helping out when these people are like, flights cancelled, hotel this cancelled, all this. Nope, I'm just laying on the bed or on the settee, not being able to do a lot. So I guess, probably the wrong thing to say, but I guess for me, I was off at a good time, because I got away from all that, didn't I? But from the work point of view, I was off at the worst possible time. But yes, as I say, I'm definitely looking forward to going back tomorrow. Can't wait. Which, if you'd have told me a few years ago, if when you're off work, you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to going back, I'd be like, like you're ever going to say them words. Who misses their job? But I have, not because of my job. I've missed the people, really have. But it's also something to do all day, it's been so boring. But there's like how my week kind of goes, housework, chores. But also another big thing I do in the week, which I love, is I go around to mum's and I go and see Annie and Gracie, our little kittens. Or as my friend Rochelle at work calls them, the two ninjas. Oh, they're funny. They really are funny. Again, I've got another little video in here of Annie. I reckon she's part dog, She loves spinning. Like a dog chases its tail. That's what Annie does. And I look at her and I'm like, what are you on? Why are you doing that? And she'll just go up and down the hallway chasing her tail. She's nuts. She really is nuts. She didn't do this much until, she didn't do it at all when we got them. It was only when we took her in, her and Gracie, to get them spayed. And she started doing this when they came out. Now, she was fine when we came out. Even like the next day, she was up. Yep, she was like, I'm all right. I had nothing done to me. Oh, poor little Gracie, though. No, she was bad. Me and my dad actually thought she wasn't going to make it. She was that bad. But little Gracie, we took her back to the vet and they were like, oh, she'll be fine. Yeah, really? No, she wasn't. We took her to a different vet and she got an infection. So they gave her some antibiotics. I was around mum's every day. We had to get the antibiotics in her. Oh, that was fun enough. But we had a syringe, which did make life a bit easier. So I would, hold her Mum done the worst job. Mum had to get it in her. But, you know, between us, we got the knack of it pretty quickly. And yeah, my little girl got so much better. If my mum watches this, she'll be like, whose girl? It's not your little girl. She's mine, which she is. But I call them my little girls as well. So yeah, I do go around there in the week. Not every day, but if we're there, if I'm there, I'll be like, right, let me pop in. Let's come and see them too for a little bit. They're so funny. They really are. And they're adorable. They really are loving little girls. Annie, well, they're meant to be British short hairs. That's what Mum wanted when she got them. Proper British short hairs. Our previous two cats were British short hairs. Rosie and Maisie. And we've had cats all our life. You know, and they were really, really affectionate. The most affectionate cats I've ever known. And I think it's the breed. Really, really lovely. And Mum got them mainly because I was living at home at the time, and this was saying crazy that I've grown up with cats, but I'm allergic to them. Not that I really care, because I love cats too much. So they'll make me, you know, I'll be sneezing, I'll get, you know, runny nose, that kind of thing. But when I was living with them, it wasn't, it just felt I had a cold quite a lot of the time, so it was all right. I only really noticed how bad it was when I came away, because what will happen is when my parents go on holiday, I move in there for a couple of weeks. We are not putting our cats in a cattery. No, no, no. I will go and look after them. So that's the joys of working from home. Just take my laptop, my monitors, etc., go and put it in Mum and Dad's house. So yeah, I go and look after them. Now, when we had Rosie and Maisie. Rosie, she was a big old girl. She really was. She used to sleep on my pillow. She had more pillow than I had. You know, I was like, oi, whose pillow is this? And I swear that cat looked as if to say, mine, and I'm just allowing you to put your head on part of it, you know. So when I'd go back, then I'd be like, yeah, now I can feel the allergy starting. So out came the old antihistamines. But as I'm sure anyone that takes antihistamines may know this, I didn't know this until last year, okay, that if you take antihistamines and you take the pills, so if you're taking loratadines, you know, all the usual for your hay fever, they've actually got a laxative in them. So say no more, me taking them every day didn't do me too much good. So parents were away for nearly 3 weeks, and at the end of it, I was like, you can't go away that long again. And they were like, why not? I was like, I couldn't breathe. I was like, my allergy is too much. But yeah, so I will go around there and see them too. But yeah, when we got them, say once Maisie died, I think she was about 10 or 11. It was a week into COVID. It was horrible. She got throat cancer, and they said, oh, she may have up to 2 years. No, she had 2 weeks. It was really, really sad and horrible, which I'm sure anyone knows, lose a pet, and it's crippling, no other word for it. But yeah, then so Rosie, she lived for, I don't know how many more years longer. Might have even been, it was at least 6. Might have even been more than that. No, I think it was about 6. Didn't know anything was wrong with her. She seemed fine. I think she just died of old age. But yeah, won't go into what happened with that. But yeah, she was my girl. I've still got her on my screensaver. You know, she's, out of all the cats we've ever had in my life, Rose is my favourite, always will be. So yeah, Mum was like, right, I'm going to she gave it time. She was like, right, I want to get some more. So she'd be looking online. She was like, look at these. I was like, oh my God, look at them. She wanted to get different colours to Rosie and Maisie. They were grey. Well, they call them blue, don't they? The blue colours, but when you look at them, they're grey. She's like, I don't want to get the same. I was like, no, because that feels like you're replacing them. So can't do that. So she was looking at all different ones. She'd seen some white colour points, and then these little tabby ones come up. And I was like, oh my God, look at them. So Mum always gets female cats. She doesn't want boy cats. So there was 2 girls. So she spoke to this breeder, and she was like, yeah, telling them all. But the price on the advert suddenly doubled. oh, that's the deposit. Yeah, really? That's not what you're stating. But Mum was like, okay, we'll come down. Mum had set her heart on them, and they were lovely. So when we went in and we see them, I was like, oh my God. We wasn't sure we was going to bring them home. My dad said they were going on holiday literally like a week, 2 weeks later. So Dad was like, maybe we should leave them there until we come back from holiday, because then I've not got them. And I was like, yeah, they're going to be a nightmare when they're that little, and I've got to try and work. But when we got there, we took the baskets just in case, because my dad knew what my mum was like, that she might be like, I'm not leaving these two here. But yeah, my dad see them and he was like, they're coming home. We was like, yeah, the breeder, I actually did put a review online. She did manhandle them a bit. She picked one up and she just threw her across the room. And we was like, yeah, they're coming home. There's no way they're staying here. So yeah, I had fun and games. I only actually did half days at work for 2 weeks. And even that was hell. Because them two little cuties were into everything. So they'd be under the cupboards. And I was like, get out of there. You know, yeah, it wasn't fun. But yeah, so we thought they were British short hairs, but they're not. They're just cats with short hair. They're not proper British short hairs, you know. But so yeah, they've got different traits about them. But they're mad little nutters, they really are. Mum often says, sometimes she says they do my head in. She's like, but then you get the other times and they really make her laugh. She sent me a picture last night. I was like, oh my God, look at her, little Gracie.